Hey humans, how's it going? Susan Ruth here. Thanks for listening to another episode of Hey Human Podcast. On this episode, I sat down with comedian Aaron Weaver. I was in Los Angeles a few weeks back, as many of you know, and he was kind enough to meet up with me at my Airbnb, and we sat and chatted about comedy and life and rap and all these things, and then we went and had delicious Indian food. It was a really fun night. Aaron tours. You can find a lot of his comic stand-up bits up on YouTube, and I'll put links to all of those on my heyhumanpodcast.com links page. Definitely check him out. Usual stuff, rate, review Hey Human on iTunes and the various podcast apps. I'm on everything, I think, at this point for iOS and Android phones. heyhumanpodcast.com, obviously. If you want to email me, Susan at heyhumanpodcast. And I know I said it already, rate and review, but please, it helps so much. If you got a couple minutes of time, just sit down at the computer and throw a review up there on iTunes. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Thanks for listening, everyone. Hi, Aaron Weaver.
Hello,
How
Susan.
are you?
How are you? I'm good.
I'm well, too. I'm doing great.
Oh, you said well.
Yeah, that is
I always
correct.
feel I feel weird when I say good first and then the other
And then
person.
twist as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird. I have that too.
Yeah,
and
so
then you feel like, oh God, they think I'm an idiot.
Yeah, you're better than me.
No.
That's how we're starting.
It's really. I'm glad. I want to have an air of superiority every time I do one of these podcasts. Thank you for being on Hey Human.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. You have water, so I have to offer you.
I do.
And it's Perrier.
So,
and I have just like crappy water in a plastic bag, so.
Oh, we're even.
You think you're better than me?
I kind of do now. I think I just beat you.
I think you did.
Well, we'll see who wins at the end.
So you are a stand-up comic.
Yes.
All right, so let's get into that. Stan said, be funny. Don't you hate that? No, I don't want you to be funny. I want you to be as droll as possible. What got you? Did you have a bad childhood? Do you hate your parents? Like, what got you into stand-up comedy?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of comics have this dark history, and funny people have a dark history.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Every comic I know has got a lot of darkness in them. Yeah. I guess I'm no exception. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't super dark, but
Dark
definitely
enough.
like a lot of divorcing and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't connect the dots that's what got me into it, but I don't know. I went to school for writing, and I wrote a bunch of stuff, and I never did anything with it.
Funny stuff or just stuff?
Just stuff.
Yeah.
Just like nonfiction stuff.
Sure.
And also, actually, this is kind of funny. Before that, in high school, I was a rapper.
What? Like Christmas presents or what?
Yeah, only around Christmas. Like that's my
good
identity.
Money in that. It's good.
Yeah, it's great. No, I was an online rapper. I hid it from everybody. I had like a.
But I'm gonna shut this door because the planes.
Sure.
The planes, boss. The planes.
Yes.
You probably don't get that joke because you're younger than I am. But
I don't get it.
yeah. It's okay. It's from Fantasy Island.
Okay.
Yeah, I stayed home Friday nights. I was an ugly child, Aaron.
No, I don't believe it.
And I was home every Friday night watching Love Boat and Fantasy Island. Okay, anyway, so you were writing.
Okay, so yeah, to go back before that, I decided I liked rapping.
Rapping, that's right, yeah.
I mean, I lived on like a dirt road. I had a microphone that I plugged into my computer, and I would find beats online, and I would rap, and then if I heard someone coming up the driveway, I'd like unplug it real quick, hide it, and pretend I'd never had anything to do with it.
Like you were masturbating?
Yeah, that was my first masturbation, yeah.
That's old school then, Mike, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The phallic mic.
So, what, you were just free-flowing, or what? Did you have...
Oh, no, I wrote...
You wrote out your rhymes and then spit them?
Oh, yeah, I spit them. I spit them hardcore. I mean, I had like 50 songs.
What was your rap name?
Oh...
Come on!
No, you
Wait, you said you were an online rapper, so So does that not mean that you're online somewhere? People can
Yeah,
find
that's
your original
why
rapping?
I can't.
Oh my gosh.
No. Maybe later. We'll
Okay.
see.
DJ rapping. Rap.
Yeah, that's actually
DJ
it.
Christmas rap.
DJ Christmas. Wow.
What?
You got it.
I just rebranded you.
No, you just nailed it. That's what I already was. Wow. I rap over rapping music. Christmas.
Crinkly,
Yeah.
crinkly paper.
Yeah, the tape is
Oh my God.
the snare drum.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, I really loved it.
Yeah.
But I never did anything with it. I never did it in front of real people.
Because you were scared or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scared.
I mean, it is scary.
It is scary.
And you're white. Let's get that out in the open.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to talk about the elephant in the room or anything.
Yeah. And that was right around when Eminem was coming out. So
Okay.
yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of white rappers.
That's a high bar too.
Yeah.
Eminem is awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's all right. I could have beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Slick.
yeah. So yeah, I had that dream and I didn't do it. And then I went to college and I wrote and I loved it.
And you studied writing in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like English.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to write a book, but I don't know, I couldn't focus enough to do it.
What
So
was the book on?
I was just trying to write like about my life at that time because that's what they had us doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to write a lot about that, but I couldn't stick to it, just the idea of a whole book is just too much. I got distracted too much.
Are you like ADD or something? Or are you just...
Probably.
Oh, okay.
I'm probably a lot of things that I haven't checked out, but
just means you're well-rounded.
yeah, thank you. I'm psychotic. The girls like that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Bad boy.
You might want to open that door back up.
Yeah. Help! They don't ever hear me scream.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So yeah, I didn't do anything.
They are. I don't know what.
I don't know who they are either. Is there someone supposed to be listening to you scream?
It's not gonna Airbnb. It's actually a German couple, and
the people listening to the podcast, you'll be dead by then. I'm sorry.
This is my last podcast.
I don't know how you're gonna upload it. But if
Probably
you're listening to this,
that'll be the most popular one.
Yeah, that would be a really popular one.
Yeah.
Faces
of Death podcast.
Live audio. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't want to give any serial killers a good idea. So.
Yeah. That is actually there's enough actual serial killer podcasts.
That'd be a twist, a serial killer podcast with an actual serial killer killing people.
That's a good idea.
I mean,
do you want to start?
Maybe.
Okay. Sharp objects. Okay. We just met, everyone.
All I have is a spoon.
Oh
it's
no.
gonna take a while to
There's
kill you.
There's a fork over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll eat you afterward.
Okay.
I'm going in hard. If I'm going in, I'm...
Oh wait, you're gonna kill me?
Hey, I don't know.
Oh, fuck.
We haven't really worked it out yet.
Okay.
We should work out those details, I suppose.
Yeah.
Let me get some paper.
Okay. Yeah, let's write it down.
So you're working on a book that you were like, forget it, I'm not.
Yeah, I just didn't do it again.
Yeah.
So it was like two things.
That's sad.
I know. It's sad.
Sorry. Okay, so then what?
So then...
At this point, how old are you when you're like, forget the book?
22, 23.
Okay.
So then I moved to Chicago. I was going to try to get a writing job or something, and I couldn't. I was like, applied to a million places, and...
It's a Second City type thing? Or
no,
what do you
just
mean?
like anything. Just like a copywriter.
Oh, okay.
Entry level, anything.
Yeah.
But it wasn't working. So I ended up getting a job at the Cheesecake Factory, where writers go.
They do have good guac, though.
They do have good
guac.
guac.
Do they feed you, or is it kind of you only get a discount?
They're a little stingy, yeah. You get like a 50% discount when you're working only.
I feel like I'd be the worst waiter ever because, well, first, I'm a girl, but secondly, if I was a waitress,
okay.
I'd be the worst waiter, waitress, whatever. I don't know if it's like actor or it just is unilaterally across gender, but anyway, I feel like I would always be eating off of people's, like, before I brought it to them. I feel like I would I really like food is all I'm saying, and I'd be like, God, that looks good.
That's so wrong, though.
I know!
I think when you're in the actual moment, you wouldn't do it.
Maybe not.
Do you think you're the type that would eat after? like after.
Like picked up their food.
Yeah, if it looked good, if there was like some guac that was clearly untouched.
It's a good question. I've done that with kids I've babysat for, and they're pretty disgusting.
Right,
so.
and you don't know these people.
In a loving way, I mean that. Kids are dirty and stuff.
Well, everyone's dirty and gross.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Anyway, yeah. So Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, you might do that.
Maybe, maybe depends on what it is.
Yeah, well, you probably.
People are wasteful.
They are very wasteful.
And if I was broke and hungry, I mean, I don't know that it would. Definitely wouldn't be beneath me to be like, I'm just gonna throw that in my purse. Like, get my purse lined with plastic, so you're just gonna shove it all in there.
It's probably best that you never did that. That's the point.
I don't think I could remember orders at all.
It's hard.
It's and Cheesecake Factory's nuts.
It's nuts.
Like, that menu, and you have to memorize it, right?
Yeah, I had to answer like 300 questions and a personality questionnaire. It's just like...
Yeah, my roommate in college worked at the Cheesecake Factory, and I was... Yeah. I couldn't believe it.
No, that place sucks. Like,
no
sorry.
offense, Cheesecake Factory.
No offense, we love you.
There goes that ad revenue.
Oh, shit. No,
we're ad free, so.
Yeah.
They gotta butter me up with some serious cheesecakes if they want me to hawk their stuff.
Great guac, though. You're right.
They do have great guac.
Great guac.
So, you're in the Cheesecake Factory.
I'm in the Cheesecake Factory. I didn't become a rapper. I didn't become a writer. And now I'm at the Cheesecake Factory.
You're 0 for 2.
I'm 0 for 2. And
that's depressing.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
how I felt.
I know it because I'm a creative, so I get it. Like,
yeah.
I'm do all the creative things, and I know how. Sorry, that's probably annoying everyone that's listening. My bobbles are bobbling. To have your mind set on something, a creative path, and then have it systematically not working is super depressing.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah. And to be fair, it wasn't just that it wasn't working. I think I was scared, obviously, if I'm not showing anyone my rap.
Self-sabotage, scared kind of stuff?
Yeah, like scared of failure, fear of failure,
sure.
Not really putting myself out there fully.
That's a powerful force.
It's a strong fear, yeah.
Serious monster under the bed.
Okay, there's an elephant in the room and there's a monster under the bed.
That's the day we've been talking about.
This is a crazy Airbnb. Yeah, so fear of failure kept me down for both of those things.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting at a Cheesecake Factory, slanging guac, eating old cheesecakes and just going into food comas at work. And I found out that like 3 of the people I worked with did stand-up comedy. And at this point, I'd started liking it. Before that, I started writing jokes and stuff just for fun. And I found out they did comedy, and I'm like, you guys are kind of funny, but like not crazy. Like anyone can do this? And they're like, yeah, man, just go to an open mic. You can just go to an open mic. And I was like, okay. So I just went to an open mic and tried it, and I didn't suck, so I kept going.
I've watched some of your stand-up. It's very funny. And it's smart funny, which is my favorite kind.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty brilliant.
Not gonna lie.
Everyone check it out.
What was your first routine? Do you remember? Or how long ago was that?
Ooh, that was about 8 years ago.
And you hadn't thought, maybe I'll do that. That hadn't even crossed your mind. It's just these guys at work were like, hey.
Well, I had started writing. I had started really liking this comedian, Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Great comic.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah, he was great. Because he was like a bridge. He's almost like a rapper to me. Because like his
flow.
His flow and his lines were like punchlines, just like in a rap song, just short and to the point. Mm-hmm. So I started writing some jokes like that. And went to an open mic. Yeah, what was my first routine? Oh, God. They're all one-liners. I remember a couple. Okay, what was it? I'm vegan. Well, I wasn't vegan, but I said I was vegan. Or I said I don't want to be vegan because the only sport they're allowed to play is squash. And it's just so stupid.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah?
That's funny.
You think so?
Yeah, how many people actually got that joke, though? I bet there was a moment and then people laughed. They're like,
there were a lot of groans. It was like, whoa.
Still, it's funny.
It's kind of corny, but I like it.
Corny.
Oh, wow. Maybe I'll bring it back.
Yeah. I feel like that's one you could run with, you know.
It could be. It could be. There's some legs there.
Yeah. Not to beat it down, but
oh,
beat.
Oh wow. Oh wow. You said beat with 2 E's.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you should try.
And an umlaut.
Damn. Was there any other? Oh God, these are so bad. Someone called me a tool, and it's like a tool because I'm so handy and useful. See, like this is yeah. A lot of bad one-liners is what I started off doing.
And so you developed that.
Yeah.
But now you're more, I mean, you've got more storylines going on, I feel. I mean, I haven't only known you 10 minutes, but watching your act, it seems like it's more story-driven.
Yeah, I try to have an arc, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's more exciting to have like a arc, and it's more of an experience for other people than to just like list off a bunch of short jokes. Yeah, I started to feel robotic and it's just not human, just like reciting jokes. So
yeah,
I had to switch it up. I had to talk about things that I cared about a little more to make it interesting for me. So.
But don't you feel like people in the audience respond better when you get to that truth, that personal?
Sometimes it's just riskier. It's safer to do what I was doing, because those just get laughs because they're just little funny jokes.
Yeah.
And they're easy. When you get more into your personal truths, it's like, okay, so before it's like if they didn't like it, they don't like the jokes.
Right.
But now it's like if they don't like it, they don't like me.
Right.
You know,
they don't like your story or.
They don't like my point of view. They don't relate to my life or anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's riskier, but the payoff is way better. Because when you connect with people, like if I do darker stuff and it connects, it feels so good. Because I love hearing darker stuff from comics. It makes me feel less alone. It makes me feel like, oh, you too, and then they make it funny, and like that's just sort of transforms that bad energy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like ideal, but if you try to do dark stuff and dark personal type stuff and it doesn't flip, then it's just like, oh, these people paid to be at a fun show and I just made it dark.
Yeah. Is it hard to win people back if you start to lose them? Or can you get right back on it?
It depends. There's like a couple options once you start losing them. You can, if like a joke doesn't hit, sometimes you can just ignore that and power through, because a lot of times I'm just in my own head and it wasn't as bad as I thought. So there's no point in sort of derailing the whole set. But if it's really going bad, then I just start making fun of myself and everyone. You just have to acknowledge it, you know? You can't pretend like you're not bombing, because that's the worst. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a worst story or a top?
God. Oh God, there's a lot.
Well, I feel like in order to get great at something, you have to be crappy at it for a while, or you have to learn from your mistakes, you know? You have to fall down so you get back up, and, you know, you're like, oh, I guess I won't do it that way.
Yeah, no doubt. And with stand-up anyways, it's like that never ends. Like, everyone bombs. Even Louis C.K. probably. I mean, he probably doesn't because everyone knows who he is now, but... And
they're more accepting. He can say anything.
Yeah, right. But if if he went to like a different country who didn't know him, he'd still bomb sometimes. Yeah. Plus, like, the people who don't bomb aren't that funny. Like, it's that safe thing. It's like, you can get by and appeal to the masses and just, like, do safe jokes and kind of never bomb, but never, like, kill. And that's not appealing to me.
Yeah.
I'd rather bomb some and do really well and connect some.
Killing must feel really, really good.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It changes my life.
How do you mean, like...
I'm trying to, like, be emotionally strong enough to not be so attached to the outcome of my sets, but they still, unfortunately, have an impact, you know? Like...
See, I mean, I watch the comics, but I love live comedy. I love stand up.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite things,
Yeah.
honestly. And especially in these trying times,
Oh.
I watch a lot of stand up, either going to it live or Netflix is great for stand up comedy.
Netflix is great.
You know, and but it's interesting to me to watch the face of the comic after the set, or even I try and sit where I can see them coming in and out of the door. Because I want to, you know, it's for me, it's curious to see that the mask coming on and off, and the perception of what the funny comic is versus what the person comic is.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff fascinates me.
Oh yeah.
It's really interesting, and you can almost see and I understand from the side of a performer. You know, when you're about to go out on the stage and you're in your head, you're going over the last few things, or maybe you're trying to remember a line or whatever. I get that, but there's also something about watching the energy shift that I think is really fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm probably microcosming it down pretty far than most people, but it's because human condition and all that. It's so fun.
Yeah, it feels sometimes it feels kind of like skydiving. You know, like right before. You know, you go out there, it's like you're putting on your parachute and getting all your gear together, and then you don't know what's going to happen once you walk out on the stage.
Right.
Because it's different every time. Like, there's no... The weird thing about stand-up is, like, with music, you're going to go to a rock show, you're going to go to a rap show, you know what you want, and you're going to go to that.
Mm-hmm.
With comedy, it's just like comedy club. It's not like a type of comedy. There's so many different types of comedy. So you just don't know what the audience is going to want.
Well, and so many different kinds of audience members, where I feel like music is such a unifier, and you don't pay $30 to go see music you hate or don't like or don't know about even. You pay, but with comics, you're like, yeah, let's see what it's like.
Yeah.
You know, the Comedy Store, for example, you know, you pay your money, you go in, and who knows what you're going to get usually.
Yeah.
And it's all sorts of people. And then your audience, you know, you've got the smarts, you got the not so smarts, you've got the drunks.
You got a lot of those.
You know, angry, you know, whatever. People that are just like, I'm not going to laugh. No, I'm not, you know.
Oh, yeah.
To me, that's like customer service. Why are you in customer service if you don't like people? Why are you coming to a comedy show if you don't want to laugh? That makes no sense.
I don't know.
But they're out there.
I think people just want to see people fail sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a lot of people that do that with magicians. They're like, I'm going to go there and try to figure out what you're doing, and I don't believe you.
It's a trick! Like,
well, yeah, no shit. It's a trick. Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird.
That's
like
weird.
The annoying people in movies that I like to escape into a movie. So
oh,
even,
yeah.
You know, I don't want to be reminded how something isn't possible.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
that's the worst.
It's like, it's a movie. It's okay that, you know, the physics don't line up, or, you know, whatever. The gravity, yes, I know you can't hear, blah, 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 you know, I get it, but let me just enjoy the movie.
Yeah, who are those people?
Yeah.
Why?
I think it's people that want to, they have their own agenda of wanting to be the smartest person in the room, or, you know, whatever.
They want to be the comedian, probably. And they never did.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Did you go to stand-up shows before you started your hand at it, or?
I went to a few. Not a lot.
But it didn't resonate then?
I liked it, but
I mean, it wasn't like, oh, I could do this. It wasn't until...
No, I mean, I got hints, like... No, people said I was funny, but also, like, my family was shocked. They're like... Because I've always been sort of quiet one, and reserved.
You seem reserved.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you do. Your energy is...
Yeah, well, yeah, it's my energy.
Chill.
It is chill.
Are you stoned? No.
No.
Okay, I wouldn't judge that even if you were.
I'm drunk. Okay.
That is Lisa.
I came to party. Yeah.
And what did they say? We're like, you can't do that. Don't do that, you crazy lunatic.
They didn't say that. They're just like...
They say it with their eyes.
Aaron? You? Comedy? Ooh. You know, just like doubting, not...
Did you have funny parents? Do you have funny parents?
No.
Okay.
They weren't very funny.
Okay.
No.
Even punny or any?
No, my mom, who I grew up with, she wasn't that funny, no. She's pretty serious.
Yeah.
When she had fun, it wasn't like clever jokes, it was just like excitement.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like funny. So no. there wasn't a whole lot of humor.
Do you think you can teach someone to be funny, or do you think it's a natural born instinct that you can develop, and that's that? I think about it because with songwriting, you know, people go to songwriting classes, they try and learn, and it's like, well, I understand that, but I feel like you're either you have a talent for it or you don't have a talent.
Yeah.
You can get better all the time, even if you have a talent for it, but if you have no talent for it, I don't think any amount of teaching is really gonna get you there. Maybe I'm a jerk for saying that, but I feel like that's kind of, and with any anything, like I can play piano, I will never be a piano player, you know?
Yeah, I think that's probably true for the most part. Like, and it's weird because a lot of the people that are funny in real life at parties and stuff, they're not good comedians.
How come, you think?
I don't know. The people that are just like in the life of the party, super extroverted, just cracking jokes here and there, they try to do that on stage and it's not the same. Like, there's not that level of observation that you get from being more quiet and like socially anxious or whatever. Like, a lot of comedians are
super much so.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of the times those people aren't as funny as you would think. But then there's been people that I've watched and I'm like, you are never going to be funny, and then they just keep going, and then something switches and it flips and they become really good. So you just never know. With that. It's random.
What was one of your best shows so far?
Ooh, best ones? I haven't even told you about the bad ones, but
oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm tangent girl. It's just.
Yeah, I've had multiple bad ones. I've had a couple like very bad ones that have stood out, but
like.
I'd say. Okay, real quick one. I'll go deeper into one of them, but one of them was I was going to open mic. I was like 2 years into comedy in Chicago, and there's this crowd that was supposed to go see this comedian in this other room in the same building, and the comedian hadn't showed up yet. He's like 2 hours late. So they put all those people in the room for the open mic, and they just started booing everyone, and they started booing me immediately. And there's a guy looking at me from the crowd, and he looked really nice, and he's like motioning towards me like, give me the mic. Just let me have the mic. I'll tell him to shut up. Is basically what I perceived. But he just grabbed the mic and he's like, hey, you don't want to see this motherfucker get off stage? Everyone was like, yeah.
Man, it's horrifying.
It was horrible. But it didn't feel that bad because everyone was getting booed.
Yeah.
So it was like, I know.
Solidarity.
Yeah, this isn't totally about me. Another bad one was I had a show in Grant Park in Chicago, which is a big outdoor park. I don't know if you remember Rally to Restore Sanity. Do you remember that? It was like this big Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert thing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, 7 years ago maybe. And they had a big rally in Washington, D.C., but then they also had like these little satellite rallies around the country in different cities. So they hired local talent to go on in between. Like, they had big TVs where they were showing the rally, and then they would shut it off and then go to like local talent. And the crowd was starting to get restless every time they went to the local talent, but it was like they were still cool. But by the time I was going up, they had shut off Jon Stewart, and people started booing a little bit. And then I go up and try to do jokes, and then like they all start booing. Like 3,000 people. Like, I've never performed for that many people, and when I did, they were just booing.
They didn't even give you a chance.
No.
That sucks. People are sucky sometimes.
I know. And like, you're trying to restore sanity.
That's that weird herd mentality thing.
Yeah. They just wanted to watch TV, which is weird. Like, why would you come to a park to watch TV?
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, that one hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because some local magazine wrote about it the next day, and the opening line was, poor Aaron Weaver. And I was like, this is my first press.
Please tell me you framed that. And
I have it still, yeah.
You should frame that just for that.
Yeah. That hurt. So.
Yeah.
Standout sets. Those are harder.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about me, but I've had a lot of really good sets.
It's probably because it creates that euphoria that puts you in sort of that altered state.
Yeah.
Then so you're not really there even when you're there.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong. So you know how people
Nothing
like
sticks in your brain.
right.
Yeah.
It was all good. I do remember one time I had like a one-liner joke that I've just never heard people laugh that long for a joke. For me, anyways. Like it was so awesome.
What's the joke? Can you say it?
It
Or is
was.
it out of context? It wouldn't work.
I mean, it's just. Well, do you realize that drinking water out of a straw is the exact opposite of snorkeling? And
That's great.
it was just like people laughed immediately, and then other people sort of got it
Yeah.
later, and they started laughing. And there's just like then the first people started laughing at them, and they started laughing at. And there's just like waves and waves, and I like didn't know what to do. I was just standing there, like I never had that. It was like 20 seconds for that
Wow.
like 5-second joke. I was like, this is awesome.
The
But-
crack. You rode the dragon, baby.
Yeah, girl, riding that dragon.
Have you had that experience since, or is that like the most
That's been the most, yeah, like that.
kick ass?
It's just been a weird moment. It felt like the Matrix broke a little bit in that moment. So
Yeah.
that was awesome. Yeah.
So what's your process for putting out? Do you just try and pay attention and keep notes and then sit down and write out a whole... In my perception of how a comic works, and I don't know if this is true, but I'm just going to tell you my perception, is that you are really observational, you absorb all this information going on around you in your own life and all that, and then you just sit down and write it all out, memorize it, and then make it fresh every damn time you perform it. That's like almost like you're doing a soliloquy or something.
Yeah, it's changed for me over the years. Like in the beginning, I was just looking at everything. Like, what's funny about that sign? Like, what's funny about rollerblades? And I was just like, just recording everything in my notebook. But I don't know, lately, as I've gotten older, I've done more inner type work, like just going to therapy and stuff like that. So that has become way more interesting to me, that sort of inner world, more so than looking out. So lately, I've just been trying to like make a point, like figure out what I perceive is either like an injustice in the world or something going on in me that's tricky and confusing that I hope is for other people too, and just figure out what I want to talk about and then try to make that funny, as opposed to just like scanning the earth for funny stuff. And that's harder. It's definitely like in the beginning it's harder to make that funny, so it's like you don't feel like you're doing so well.
Yeah.
But like I said, the payoff is way better once that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I just write. I still write. I know a lot of comics, it's like, it's this weird taboo thing, it almost seems like now, is writing. All these comics are like, no, just get up there and
Freestyle.
riff and just figure it out as I talk. And I'm like, I can't. I'm not doing that.
Well, it's just a different style, though, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, but...
And I've seen some comics transition in and out of both. They definitely riff on the audience, maybe to start. I guess that's them getting their juice up or whatever, and then they go into their bit.
Oh, yeah.
And then they go back to freestyling or whatever.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. But some comics say they, like, never write anything down. They're just, like, working it all out on stage, and I'm
That's
like...
ballsy. It's like tightrope work.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's tough. Yeah, it's just a
What do
different brain.
What about what do you do with I mean, you kind of talked about when you got booed or whatever, but like specific hecklers, how do you just sort of go for it and eviscerate as you go, or do you... You gotta get the audience on your side, right? In the face of a heckler.
Yeah, usually the heckler is not liked already.
Yeah.
No one wants that.
No, it's annoying as fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not hard.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
My mode of attack is to like, usually I don't like to be too mean right off the bat because that's a little off-putting, but I like to just ask them questions and they'll usually give me something that makes them look stupid.
Right.
Because once it shifts from all the attention being on me to like you, the heckler, they falter because they're not used to it.
Because they're not comics.
Yeah, they're
Generally.
not comics.
They're just drunk people.
Yeah, and they say some dumb shit, and I just
Yeah.
riff off of that, and
Yeah.
everyone likes it because nobody likes them because
Yeah.
they're dumb hecklers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are your some of your heroes? Your favorite?
Yeah, I like I said in the beginning, I
Mitch,
really
yeah.
liked Mitch and Stephen Wright. It's those
Yeah.
one-liner comics. After that, I really got into like Bill Hicks and like George Carlin. Right now, I really like the people that are really honest. So, like, I love Maria Bamford. She's so funny. She talks about like her mental illness, but makes it so good. This guy Patrice O'Neill, he's dead now, but he was so good. Yeah, he was just him and Bill Burr. They say the worst things and then explain it, and by the end you're like, oh, okay. And it's great. Like they say the worst things right off the bat, but somehow they flip it. They dig a hole.
He died of diabetes, right? Or so, like complications from diabetes.
Yeah.
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 That's sad.
He died 40 something, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was young.
Super young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was sad. But he was great. He was like just fearless, you know?
Yeah.
Those that's what I look up to now, is like who's fearless and how are they doing that?
Well, what about a Louis C.K.? Is he fearless, or is he just at a point of so much power he can say anything and he gets away with it? I love him. I think he's really funny. Yeah. I love his TV shows. I've only actually seen a couple of his stand-ups.
Yeah.
And I like that he pushes the envelope, because I think that's important.
Yeah.
Just sociopolitically, I think that's important, because it makes people think, and it makes people uncomfortable. And I think that's the only way you grow, is to get that salt in there and whatever. But his show that he had, and I'm probably gonna, I don't think it was just called Louis. I know he had the show Louis that was on, but it was the one that was more...
Oh, on HBO?
It was like he and his wife, and they were in that.
Lucky Louie?
Lucky Louie.
Oh, you watched that?
Oh, I loved it.
I haven't really watched that.
Oh, it's great.
Is it a joke? Is it a parody of sitcoms?
Yeah, I mean, in its own way, yeah, but it's it's really good.
I thought it was totally making fun of sitcoms the
It
whole
is
time.
a little bit, but it isn't. I mean, it takes itself seriously, but not. It's hard to explain. It's very him. I mean, it's excellent. I really liked it, but it's my kind of humor too.
Okay.
You know, and I think he's quite bright and.
Oh, very bright.
Yeah, and so already I'm turned on by that kind of humor. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and he's got that other thing, Harold and Pete. Have you heard of that?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that's supposed to be really dark and kind of funny.
Yeah,
so.
He's pretty dark.
Oh, he's very dark.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's got some stuff rattling around in them bones. For
yeah,
sure.
he does.
Yeah,
he does. He's got some controversies.
Anybody that you just don't like, you probably don't want to say their names, but anybody that you don't like, and you don't have to say who it is, but why don't you like them? So you don't ostracize yourself.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't name names.
I wouldn't. But
yeah.
What is it about it you don't like? You don't even say boy or girl, just what kind of comedy do you not like? How about that? We'll make
First of all, it's definitely a girl. No, I'm just kidding.
Women aren't funny.
Women aren't funny. No, they're very funny. I don't like just hack stuff. There's a lot of it. There's people with
what's
Netflix.
What's an example of that? Because I think people out there in the listening world that don't know.
Yeah. Just like.
What's representation?
Difference between men and women. White people, black people are different. Here's why. We know this has been done a lot.
Yeah. Regurgitative.
Drunk girls talk like this. You know, like that sort of thing. Am I right, ladies? Am I right, fellas? You know, like just saying some basic stuff, like, and then being like, "Am I right? You know what I mean, fellas?" I don't know.
I think the wiggle is. He's wiggling while he says that.
Yeah, good thing you can't see it because it'd totally give it away. You'd know the wiggle.
Did you watch the Carmichael show? I loved it. I thought it was really great.
I didn't watch that. No.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, he's funny.
I love like Chappelle, a freaking genius. I mean, I love anyone that's sticking their finger in there and being like, does that hurt? Does that hurt?
Yeah.
Does that hurt? Does that hurt? I just think it's so necessary.
It's so important right now.
Oh, man.
But there's so much.
The PC thing is gonna...
There's so much of that.
It frustrates me.
Oh, my God.
There's certainly a time and a place to be respectful, but comics should be off limits. If you know what I mean, their whole point is to be like, look at this horrible thing, and find some weird shred of humor. I had somebody on my podcast who took offense to a joke that off the cuff, and I thought it was hilarious.
Can you tell us?
Well, this person, listen, I love this person. I mean, we've since,
we know
friends
you
and
love this
stuff.
person.
I know,
yeah. Fine.
But,
what's the joke?
Well, the joke was, I said, so we were talking about alcohol, and I said, what's your favorite, or what's your least favorite drink? And he said, mimosa. And I said, why? And he said, because it's half juice. And I said, oh, that's Hitler's least favorite drink, too.
Wow.
And it was just the first thing that popped in my head.
Oh, my God.
And he just looked at me like, holy shit. And then he didn't say anything. But then later he's like, can you take that out? I'm like, I get it. I understand. But I'm like, and I said, he goes, Hitler jokes aren't, that's what he said to me in real life. He said, Hitler jokes aren't funny. And I said, tell that to Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
And I'm half Jewish, so I get, so the half juice made it even funnier for me because I've been around people that make like Jewish disparaging things, not knowing, and then you're like, oh, by the way,
right,
that's not an appropriate thing to say.
And Hitler is like the best example of evil. So he comes up a lot in comedy. Like,
absolutely.
You're always trying to take things to the most absurd level.
Absolutely.
So I talk about him like it's just like if you want an example that everyone knows that is about the worst possible thing, you're gonna talk about him.
Yeah. And I thought it was a pun. It was a Hitler joke. I mean, come on. So good.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I never saw the light of day.
Maybe he's sensitive about juice.
Yeah.
Like
orange, cranberry.
Yeah. Those juice guys.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that it's important to, and if you don't, also I think history repeats as we are seeing right now, right? And so if you don't remind people once and again that there's some pretty terrible things in the world, people get complacent and they forget. And this whole PC, to make a comic apologize for a joke is... It's
getting wild out here.
It is getting... I feel bad for y'all.
It's getting wild within the community of comedians.
Really?
I've been to like shows or open mics or something where the other comics are policing the comics.
Really?
Oh yeah, I've seen people get on a megaphone and like yell during someone's set. Like this is supposed to be
a
supportive.
Comic does that?
Yeah.
What?
Multiple people have done similar things. It's crazy.
Like, what's an example? Say.
Okay, so one time this guy, I don't know who he was. He's just a new comic, and he wasn't that funny yet, which is fine. He's at an open mic.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be. But he said, I don't even think it was a bad angle or anything, but he just said the word black people, and then the other comic got on a megaphone and did the siren. It was like, woo, 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 woo. He's like, what? He's like, you can't say that. I was like...
Was it a black person on the megaphone?
It was, yeah.
Interesting. And a white person or a black person talking?
White person.
Interesting.
Was
it disparaging? Was it...
It didn't even happen.
Oh.
It didn't even happen.
Oh, the joke didn't even...
It didn't even get there.
Oh, that's weird. It seems highly aggressive without even hearing...
Yeah, and the thing about all the people so far that I've seen act that way, they're not funny. Like, they're just... I think...
The people that you mean that are being reactive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole policing group is... yeah, they're not...
Well, I think it's dangerous. I think
super dangerous.
It's like the people that wanted to ban the what's her name? To Kill a Mockingbird. Harper Lee.
Oh,
the set of Watchmen, because they use the N-word, which is, yes, a horrible, horrifying word. But in that era, that's how people talked. And when you start taking out that context, you're actually, I feel like you're doing a disservice to people that had to live through that.
Yeah.
You know, who heard it all the time, you know,
Yeah.
to act like it never happened.
Right. Would it be better if she pretended like that never happened?
Right. I think that's more insulting.
I think that's way more insulting.
Yeah. It's like, to me, I remember being in 8th grade, 9th grade history class and having kids in the class with, well, my dad says the Holocaust never happened. It's like, what?
What?
You know, let's just erase all of those horrible human things that we've done to each other.
Yeah.
And then guess what happens? They get to come back and it'll happen again, and it'll just keep happening.
Yeah.
So
right.
Anyway, that's my big thing about that.
It's so important.
I don't think you should censor comics.
And don't get me wrong, there are bad comics who say dumb stuff that's offensive.
Right.
But just don't laugh at them.
But they'll get weeded out.
They will get weeded out. They're not going to make it.
Yeah.
They're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
And yeah, that happens and it's annoying, but like that doesn't mean you should be censoring people.
Right.
Yeah, I think right now it's super important.
I do think you should censor Nazis who yell "kill Jews" for sure, but that's a different story. We're talking about, so for anybody listening, like, yeah, but you know.
But even that, is that right? Because like,
I think if it incites, the First Amendment is very specific in that there's freedom of speech unless it incites harm, riot, and that's when the bets start going.
Yeah.
You know, and I get that.
Like, obviously, I don't like what they're saying, but just hypothetically, like, is it better that they don't say it out loud and just sort of...
No, I want everyone to say everything out loud.
Yeah, like, we know who they are now.
I mean, me personally, yeah.
They're not, like, suppressing it, and so it's building and building, and they do something crazy, but...
Right, I'd like to know exactly who those people are.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's better.
I'm a big fan of that. I don't think people should incite riots, and I don't think children should get killed, and all that kind of stuff. However, I want to know exactly where my monsters are at all times.
They're all inside.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah. It is interesting.
Yeah, it is. And I think everyone is so scared to say anything right now.
Yeah.
It's so tense.
It's so tense.
Like, especially with, like, identity politics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's so tense. There's so few even comedians that are trying to say anything.
Because they're scared they're going to get ostracized or... Yeah.
Because, there's just a...
God, see, that just kills an art form. To me, I don't know. It's... I was driving home from my last podcast interview, or driving home. I don't live here, but, driving back to the Airbnb. And my mind just started to wander because I'm in traffic or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then for some reason, I started thinking of Fiddler on the Roof. And then my mind went to Fondler on the Roof, and then I thought that would make a funny cartoon or a great porn, and then I thought, oh no, people would hear Fondler on the Roof and immediately think pedophile, and then that would be horrible. So then my whole thought process played itself out, but you have to be able to play it out. You know what I mean?
You have to be able to say pedophile. Pedophile on the roof.
Right.
Fuck it. That'd be funny. Why is he on the roof?
Well, Fondler on the Roof is funnier there because it rhymes with Fiddler. But,
hey, I'm the comedian.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Hey, am I explaining the joke to you? No, see, the joke is...
Oh, okay. Tell me, heckler.
Wait, no, you just heckled me, didn't you?
Whatever.
I don't know.
I can't. I'm the comedian. I can't heckle you.
But you know what? That's where art forms start to die off.
For sure.
If you can't there are people that are like, I'm going to poop in this jar, and that's art. Well, I don't think that's art, but somebody does.
I do. I mean, that's pretty cool.
I'm not
Save it for later.
Yeah.
Put it in the toilet when you're constipated. Maybe you feel better.
Feel better about yourself.
Yeah. Save it for a rainy day.
There's something very satisfying about a great poop, I gotta say.
I really think it's probably better than anything.
Really?
Anything? Maybe better than sex. Like
Although a great poop for sure is up there. I think it's because there's kind of all the same sensations in their own way.
Yeah.
Happening. I mean, they're different, but they're the same.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that felt good.
I think it's more...
It's like sneezing. Or...
it's more consistently better than sex, unless you have like
Unless you have a good partner, I suppose.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Over life, it's been more consistent. You know, like you can always count on poop to make you feel good.
I guess that's true. And when you don't, it's miserable.
Oh yeah, that's when you know something's good. When it doesn't happen, then it really sucks.
Yeah. It's miserable.
Yeah, that's a horrible place to be. People don't really talk about that, constipation, but for real.
Horrible.
People need to start talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of being censored because that is a serious problem.
That is.
I think people will admit to pooping more than they will be admitting to constipation. I don't know why there's more shame in that, but
yeah, it is because that's a good question. I don't know. It's certainly thought provoking. When I went to Key West for the Songwriter Festival last year, I was feeling rather bound up, if you know what I mean. And I'm celiac, so sometimes things just go astray if I get wheat accidentally, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, when I got there, I thought, I'm going to get a colonic. That's going to be awesome. Or a colon hydrotherapy, whatever it's called. And I went in there and, man, those things are freaking awesome. But it's the weirdest experience to be on the table. There's this woman. She's like, just breathe. Put your knees here. I'm going to stick this tube in your, right here. And I'm going to turn it and you'll feel like a little, and she's sort of describing it and you're like, Jesus, okay. And she's doing this and you're breathing and she's like, relax. You're like, I'm relaxed. And then they, have you ever had one?
No, I've done something close.
Similar.
I'll tell you about it after.
Okay, so then they run the warm water, and the warm water starts to fill you up. Yeah. And all the while, she's just talking to you in a very soothing voice, and she's kind of petting your stomach and all that kind of stuff. And if you think about it, you're like, I'm about to crap into this tube in front of this lady. And so your brain is going, don't do that. Yeah. Don't do that. That's not okay. You're not supposed to poop in front of people. Yeah. Don't do that. You know, it's like snorkeling. You're like, what do you mean breathe underwater? That makes no sense. Yeah. You know? And then you start she's flushing you. She's like, oh, we're ready. And you're like, okay. And she's like, just let go. And you're like, that makes no sense. You know? But boy, and then you can't make it not happen. And so you get a fevery feeling because you're kind of embarrassed, but it also feels good, and it's traumatizing but wonderful.
It's like you lost your virginity, your poop virginity.
I guess so. It's a very bizarre experience.
Yeah. That I can't imagine doing it with another person there.
Yeah, because they've got to monitor everything.
Wow. Yeah. How long are you doing it?
It takes about. It takes like an hour 20. Damn. It takes a minute, yeah.
Wow. I've done...
But my God, you feel so much better after.
I know. Oh, yeah. I've done coffee enema.
Oh, yeah. That makes you hyper or what?
No, not at all. Coffee up your butt doesn't make you... You don't take the caffeine in.
Okay. Because I remember people were putting vodka-soaked tampons in their butts to get drunk. I remember that was a craze.
Oh, yeah. I never did that, but...
Me neither.
Yeah. Coffee enemas are pretty cool.
So what's it like?
You just lay on the ground, put on some Enya, and
interesting.
My mom taught me how to do this.
Okay.
And
with the hot water bottle situation or what?
There's a bucket. You can get a bucket, or I guess you could use a hot water thingy. But yeah, you put this tube in your butt. And you put some whatever lubricant on it, and you put it in your butt, and then you just let it flow into you.
The coffee.
The coffee.
Is it like a pot of coffee, or what is it?
It's green coffee. So there's some green coffee that you can get. You could probably use regular coffee, but
there's a specific that's probably better, less acidic maybe.
I think so. I mean, you don't want it to be hot.
No, that sounds like a bad idea.
No. Yeah. So you wait till it cools down. You put some cold water in it to make sure it's not hot, and you just put it in and just let it sit. And you just
hold it as long as you can.
Ideally 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the point where you can't hold it and you're gonna explode, and then you just run to the toilet, let it go, and then wow, you feel so good.
Yeah.
It's just
it's really something.
It's amazing. I feel like you just got back from like a week-long vacation or something.
Yeah, I don't think people really understand how wonderful it is. They're like, gross, what are you talking about? But it's really, it's something.
Poop is...
toxic.
It's making a comeback. Like, because you've heard of like these, what are they called? Well, it's like the probiotics inside of you, inside of your gut.
They have fecal transplant.
That's what I'm saying. People are basically eating.
No, they stick it up your butt. You don't eat
it. Okay. That's probably...
That would make you super duper sick.
Yeah, okay.
No, that's in, they do capsules, and they take other people with healthy flora, they take their poop, and they stick it up your butt, and then that healthy flora repopulates your screwed up flora.
Right.
I mean, that's brilliant. Whoever thought of that gets a Nobel, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Science. All right, back to you, though, in comedy.
Oh, yeah, that was a big tangent. What were we saying?
Well, we were talking about bombing and heckles and good shows and your favorite comics and the kind of comedy you don't like. How about Netflix being so great with comedians? Is there a new president, a stand-up comic or something? I'm just shocked at how great it is.
No, I think people just want that.
Yeah, we're in troubled times. They need laughter.
Yeah, I don't think there's been such a popularity with... Well, I don't know. The 80s were huge for stand-up, but... Yeah, people... I think they do the best on Netflix. Stand-up specials.
Yeah. Who's the best live comic you've ever seen?
Oh, God.
They don't have to be super famous if they're not. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Best live comic. I really like Bill Burr. I feel like he's got no place where he's just a machine and you can put anything you want into his brain and he'll spit it out and it'll be funny.
And you've seen him live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can just go off the cuff. He can write really well.
Yeah.
He's all of it. He's really good. And he's also one of the few people that I think is so important right now who are challenging the PC stuff and just saying what he wants to say. And he's one of the very few, it seems like, that are actually doing it and still successful.
Yeah.
So...
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah. So, like, watching that live, watching him touch on these subjects that nobody wants to touch on is really fun because you get to see how people... take offense or how he wins them over eventually, and it's really alive. It's cool.
So you're going to New York. Are you going to do stand-up when you're there?
Yeah.
Is that why that's the trip is for?
I'm going for a wedding, but
I'm
just every time I go somewhere, I try to set up a bunch of shows.
That's smart.
Do
you have a favorite place in New York or LA even for that matter, since you live here?
Well, in New York, in LA, I run a show at the Improv on Thursdays.
You do?
So come on out. Comedians You Should Know is what it's called. The Improv Lab.
I don't think... Oh, you know what? That's right. I was... our mutual friend told me about that. Cora told me about that. And I'm going to that Futurama live thing that night.
Oh, at the Improv?
I don't know where it is.
Oh, okay.
Is it at the Improv?
I have no idea. I've seen it there before.
It's somewhere on Hollywood, so...
On Hollywood Boulevard?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at my ticket yet.
Yeah, well...
Anyway, else I would absolutely be there. So the Improv you like?
Yeah, I like it.
I've been to the Comedy Store here, and I had a blast.
Comedy Store is great.
I was shocked. It was just awesome after awesome after awesome. Just killing it.
Comedy Store, they have so many comics go up, and they're so good.
So
everyone
good.
wants to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hardest place for a newer comic to get into.
Yeah.
They just have so many good people.
How do you get in there?
That one's tricky. I don't know.
Who you know, kind of like in music, sometimes who you know.
Yeah, you have to hang out there like every day if you want to have a chance. And some people are willing to commit that time, but I can't right now. Or you just become successful outside of it, and then you can just do it. I go up at the Laugh Factory a lot. That's a good club. I like that one. In New York, I'm excited to do the Knitting Factory. That's a really cool venue. My buddies run a show there on Sunday nights.
Cool.
And it's really fun. It's packed out. It used to be Hannibal Buress's show, so they took it over.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's fun.
Nice.
Yeah, looking forward to the New York crowds. They're a little more lively sometimes.
Yeah.
A little more just willing to go there with you.
Is it hard to be night after night? Let's say you have a 4-night run or something, and your set is basically the same because you're going off of your own script or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's sticking within a parameter. Is it hard to maintain the funny in it and the timing and the beats and all that stuff when it becomes rote like that?
When it gets repetitive, that's hard. Yeah.
So I think about some of these guys on these long runs, and I think, God, how do they do it, man?
Yeah.
Or I'll catch them in 2 different cities, and it's basically the same thing, and they're able to deliver it. You know, it makes me laugh both times, which I think is a talent in and of itself.
It is. There's some people, like, I'm kind of bad at, like, selling it if I'm bored of it. But some people, I've seen them do the same jokes for, like, 8 years, and they sell it like it's brand new, like they just thought of it. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I don't know, how are you doing that?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the people that go on tours like that, they switch up. I mean, if you switch up even 10%, 15% of your set, it's enough
fresh
to, like, carry you through.
Yeah,
and
that makes
keep it
sense.
not boring. But yeah, I've definitely had a lot of moments where I felt like just reciting my jokes and not present, and that's not a good place.
Yeah.
So
Pull out a knock-knock joke.
pull out a knock-knock joke. Yeah. People love those.
Knock-knock jokes. Hey, you know what? A good knock-knock joke.
Yeah. Is there any other kind?
Are there any good knock-knock? There's got to be at least one.
I can't think of any.
I can't really either.
Yeah, I forget all those. Street jokes.
So what's the plan, young man?
What's the plan?
Yeah, what's the plan? What's the goal?
I mean, the ultimate goal.
Does this feel like this is what all along this is it? Instead of the writing and the rapping and all that other stuff? Is this...
Oh, God. I don't know. I question it.
Oh, okay.
I think every comic, because you just kill one day and then you bomb the next day and you're like, what am I doing?
Right.
I always, like, imagine just living in the woods after I bomb. I'm just like, I just want to, like, make mustard, like, live off the land.
Yeah.
And write. I'll start writing again. Maybe I'll become a woods rapper. Just do that. But
Where you crinkle sawdust instead of
yeah,
paper.
Yeah, sawdust makes a good sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that one bombed. That was a good lesson in bombing.
Yeah, there you go. How'd that feel?
Felt pretty good. I was
Poop good?
I got a high for a second. No, it wasn't quite. It was definitely not poop good.
Okay. No, but I think
that's the holy grail.
That is the holy grail. I think next up I want to get a late night set on, like, Conan or Colbert.
Are those hard to get? Are they harder to yeah?
They're not easy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, because it seems like a lot of those guys give chances to unknowns more readily than even say a comedy club. That's
no.
You're not saying no.
Not more than a comedy club.
Oh, okay, all right.
No, but
I feel like I only see bigger names at comedy clubs, and then on the late night, I'm like, I've never heard of this guy, but he's funny or she's funny.
Yeah, but you always got openers at the comedy clubs that are not known.
Yeah.
But late night, it's hard because there's not a lot of spots, and there's literally, God, there's got to be like 20,000 comedians right now, at least. There's so many, and so there's like thousands of good ones, really good ones that aren't famous. So yeah, everyone's fighting for those spots and trying to stand out. Yeah.
But does it help to be a writer? I mean, literally a writer for like a show. It seems like John Mulaney is like, oh yeah, I was a writer on SNL. I was a writer.
That might help. I don't know. I don't know how much that helps with. If you're a writer on that late night show that you're trying to get on, I'm sure that would help a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, the ultimate dream would be, like HBO specials. That would be amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about the SNL route? Is that...
I don't think that's my route.
Yeah.
Maybe writing for it, but I'm not that much of an actor to where I get excited about it,
Yeah.
doing something like that. So
So that's a whole nother follow acts too. I
yeah,
guess.
that's more of the comedian actor route.
Yeah.
More of the comedian writer. So
All right. So how can people find you, Aaron?
they can find me at Twitter at Aaron Weaver with 4 A's. They can find
Whoa, what?
4 A's. Yeah.
For reals?
Yeah.
Aaron?
Yeah.
That's your
Twitter.
Twitter. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Instagram, Weave Dreaming, and Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really quick, the YouTube video that you did that I thought was so well done was the wild animal one.
The
The
zebra
bus.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was brilliant. So
Thank
are you
you.
gonna do more of those?
Yeah, I'll probably do more of those.
What is the name of that one so people can YouTube that?
Oh God, what is the
I'll
name?
put it on my Hey Human podcast too, so on the links page.
I don't remember the name of that video, but if you Google my name, it'll come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 3 of them.
Just random. That was so random.
What?
That skit is so random. I love it.
Yeah, I like that. I like random stuff.
Yeah,
that
me
comes
too.
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun
good.
for me.
Yeah. Well, Aaron Weaver, find Aaron and laugh because he's
Thank
very
you.
funny. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for listening.
Yes. Bye, everybody.
Go poop. Bye.
Bye.